Um, in this recording, I'd like to explain to you how exploratory and ad hoc testing can be done in Rommana. Rommana has a test design methodology that we refer to as the scenario-based test design, and that's when the test engineer takes a requirement and derives scenarios out of that requirement and follow that methodology. But that methodology is explained in a different recording. In this recording, I just want to focus on ad hoc and exploratory testing in Rommana. This is the main project screen in Rommana, and on the top here, this is the top menu, and if you click here at ad hoc tests, and I have to say in Rommana we use the two terms ad hoc and exploratory interchangeably, although people out there in the literature might distinguish between them. But as it says here, an ad hoc test is a test that is created on the fly without following the Rommana scenario based test process. I know people out there speaking about exploratory testing, try to contrast exploratory testing with what they call scripted testing. We don't really use the term scripted, we use the term pre-designed. So in Rommana, a test is either pre-designed using some sort of a test design methodology, which is in our case is a scenario-based methodology, or otherwise a test could be an ad hoc / exploratory, which means it has not been designed but rather has been thought about on the fly for one reason or another. Maybe because we did not have time to actually design the tests up front, maybe because we did not come up with the idea, maybe there was some kind of test a tester could not think about it early enough, so when he or she sat down to test, they thought about doing it. All these kind of tests, we refer to them as ad hoc / exploratory. As it says here, an ad hoc test only has a description, expected results, and actual results, and of course the status, whether it is passed or failed or otherwise. I just happened to click on the ad hoc tests here, so when you do that, you get a list of all the ad hoc / exploratory testing that have been defined within a given project. You get them here on the right, you get them on the left as well. You can expand this if you want. It's just two different views. Here are only the titles of the tests, but on the right is all the other attributes that you might be interested in. As far as the color coding here, you can just imagine the green color means that this test case or this test is passed. The red color, if any, that tells you that this test case is a fail. The black color means that the test case has not been executed yet. So if I go here and go into test number 118, for example, if I click on that to see the details of the test, it'll show the status not executed, and the yellow color means that it's a passed, but after bug reports have been fixed. It's kind of a passed for a second time. So this is a number 118 here. As I said, the status is not executed. If you click on a say 123, which is sort of a second time pass, meaning that it failed before and there was a bug report associated with it, but the bug report has been fixed, and as a result now it is passed. This is not a first time pass. And if you were to scroll down here, it'll show you that there was a bug report in number 40, and the status of that bug report is also green. That means that it closed. We use the same color coding for bug reports or issue reports. The issue reports, if it is black, it means, sorry, if it is red, that means it's open. If it is green, it means closed. So as I said, this ad hoc test number 123 existed. Initially, it failed. There was an issue report. The issue report has been fixed and closed. And now, as a result, this test case is or this ad hoc test is a pass. As I said again, all what we ask for people to document about ad hoc testing, because ad hoc testing is going to happen whether you like it or not. Test engineers or test analysts are going to sit down there and they're going to do ad hoc testing. So as a result, we might as well ask them to document what they're doing. And this is not much documentation, though. I mean, the real documentation is in the pre-designed tests, which, as I said, it is the subject of a different recording. But here, all what we ask the tester to do is to write a title for the test. Here it says, for example, an ad hoc test, tool tip for related non-use case scenario. I know you probably cannot make much sense out of that. What you're looking at is an actual test in the Rommana 11.3. That's the project we're working on. This is the actual data here. In fact, if you look at the breadcrumbs here, it shows this is an ad hoc test number 123 for a non-use case scenario, number 45 for requirement number 1, and in the project Rommana 11.3. But I will get back to this in a little bit. For now, let me just show you the attributes of an issue report. It's a title, it's a description. If you think the title is descriptive enough, you can be as brief as you want in the description. There is also expected results, because we believe that if a tester is going to run an ad hoc or exploratory test, then probably they need to at least have an idea about what they expect as far as results. And of course, down here is the actual results to show that after running the test, what they've got, and based on this, they decide whether it passed or failed. All right. Of course, as you can see, you can attach anything to the ad hoc test, and also. And if you were to click on that, it gives you the choice or the option to attach up to 5 different files here. You simply browse the machine and find the attachment or the file you'd like to attach and put it there. All right. Now, the tool automatically generates an ad hoc testing number. That's not editable. You cannot edit that. This is a sort of a unique ID. Now. As far as the related requirements and the related scenarios, this is simply optional fields, which means I can simply go ahead and create an ad hoc test, and I simply do not have in my mind a specific requirement that I'm testing, because we believe that ad hoc tests could possibly just come out of the blue, not for specific requirements. In fact, most people will tell you that an ad hoc test works well or happens when I don't even have a requirement. I don't even know what the requirement is. So as a result, you don't have a requirement. You don't have to have a requirement. But if you do know, so here's the thing: if I want to document an ad hoc test, so if I go here and click on New to create an ad hoc test, all right, which I am not going to add one because this is a real project here. So if I click on adding, if I try to add a new ad hoc test, then I get to the screen where there's something going on here with the performance of the internet connection, but also my machine. You can imagine my machine has tons of things working on at the same time here. So if you try to add a new ad hoc test, you have the choice, you have the option to specify which requirement this ad hoc would relate to. So after you provide the title, the description, the expected results, and the actual results, you could possibly click right here, and when you click here, you could see the whole requirement tree, and those are all the requirements. If you click here, these are functional requirements. these are quality requirements. If I click on the plus sign here, it expands all my requirements here. So if I know which requirement I am trying to test with this ad hoc test, then I simply click on in any one of those. All right, and when I do that, Rommana will simply copy the requirement right here. Interestingly enough, if that requirement had what we call non-use case scenarios defined for it, then the Rommana will display another box right here that lists all the non-use case scenarios for that requirement. It just happened that requirement number 18 that I have chosen did not have any did not have any non-use case scenarios. By the way, non-use case scenarios and use case scenarios are the mechanisms by which we design tests. But again, you can see now you can do ad hoc testing, but at the same time you can make it closer and closer to become a pre-designed tests. Again, in this case, as I said, I optionally specified requirement number 18 to be the requirement I'm testing. I did not have to do that. I can simply go click here to remove that requirement, meaning simply saying that this ad hoc test does not really test a specific requirement, but it is a test that I just wanted to run regardless of what requirement it is. And all what I have to specify are all these fields here. Of course, this is a drop-down list here, failed, passed, or not executed yet, and I can go ahead and save my ad hoc test. Let me click on an existing ad hoc test one more time. This one passed. Of course, I don't want to save anything here, so I click here on exit without saving. So I'm clicking here on ad hoc test number 99, and I can see now the progress bar is going a bit slow because of the internet connection and because of everything I have running on my machine. One more time, look at this one here. The tester who designed or who created this ad hoc test decided that this ad hoc test number 99 is for requirement number 1. Okay, and Rommana said, well, for that requirement you have actually a number of scenarios that you have defined for that requirement. There's 4 of them, and as you can see, the tester decided that this ad hoc test is for scenario number 40. As I said, he did not have to do this. All right, I'm not going to make any changes here. Now, here's the interesting thing. People can review ad hoc tests and provide possibly any comments they wish by clicking this button here. If you were to click at this button, then you can provide any comment on this specific ad hoc test for the tester. So I can create a topic here, and I'm sorry, just clicked on new. So I'm creating a new topic, and I can simply say I have a comment regarding the expected results, for example. And I can write here, I think you should also expect the following to happen. So I'm another tester, I'm a developer, I am a business analyst, it doesn't matter who I am. But I saw the ad hoc test and I decided to add this comment. If I were to click submit here, I'm not going to do this, because guess what? If I click submit, the tester who created this ad hoc test will receive an email that will tell him Magdy Hanna just added a comment on your ad hoc test number 99, and that will confuse them because that ad hoc test has been executed already and have been passed. I don't think I should add any comments, so I'm not adding any comments. But this is how people can add comments or add review comments to ad hoc tests. I'm scrolling down on the left here. I'm just going to click on 193 on the left here, and that one has not been executed yet. And it's the same thing. It's the status has not been executed, but it's just I wanted to show this to you, and possibly, yeah, there is nothing different here. So as a result, so that's all what about ad hoc tests. Now, if you have attached a requirement and or scenario to your ad hoc test, the breadcrumbs appears on the top here. So it shows the ad hoc test, it shows the non-use case scenarios, it shows the requirement. Now, interestingly enough, if you have chosen a requirement, if you selected a requirement to attach to the ad hoc test, and that requirement happened to have not only non-use case scenarios, but guess what? If that requirement had also use cases defined for it, Rommana would display the use cases here, and you could possibly choose one of the use cases for that requirement to say that that use case is the one I am testing. And guess what? If for that use cases, because typically for a use case you also have a number of scenarios that are referred to as use case scenarios, as opposed to the non-use case scenarios here. So again, you could possibly have use cases, non-use case scenarios. You can possibly have use cases, and under use cases you may have use case scenarios, and you can select all those. And if you do, then you would see this on the breadcrumbs. It will tell you that here is the ad hoc test, here is the use case you're trying to test. Within the use case, here is the use case scenario, and so on. Actually, it goes the other way around. It goes the ad hoc test, the use case scenario, then the use case, then the requirement. Because the hierarchy is like that. The hierarchy is the highest level is the requirement. The level just below that could be either a use case or a non-use case scenario. And of course, under a use case, you also have use case scenarios. This is all explained in the scenario-based test design methodology of Rommana. But although I am actually talking about ad hoc / exploratory testing, but what I am saying here is this: if I create an ad hoc test and later on I discover that this is not really an ad hoc test as I thought it is, and I'd like to attach it to a requirement, so you can say, in Rommana, an ad hoc test is a test that's created after the fact. I don't know what requirement it is. I don't know what use case it is. I don't know what a scenario it is. I just know that I need to run a test. On the other hand, I could start following the methodology to design my tests by saying, okay, I have a requirement here, let me build the scenarios, or let me build the use cases. For the use cases, let me build the use case scenarios, and under that, let me create test cases. It's the same thing. The only difference is that for ad hoc tests, we simply call them ad hoc tests, like that. If you were to design tests based on scenarios and use cases and so on, we call them test cases. And as I said, this is the subject of another recording. All right. Of course, the reports out here, when you try to come up with reports, when you run the report on what we call the test coverage report. All right, let me go there. Actually, I could do that now. But if you run the report for what we call the test coverage report, for each requirement, it tells you. Actually, let me do that for now. So I'm going to go here and run a report. And I'm going to warn you here that for this specific project, a lot of the testing was done ad hoc. So I'm going to go here under test management report. I'm going to run this report called requirement test coverage report. Requirement test coverage report. And I'm not going to filter by anything, because I could filter by release, I could filter by requirement. I'm going to display the report here just to show you how it looks. Okay, again, as I said, I will warn you, most of the tests here are going to be ad hoc. Here is the thing. This is a table down here. It shows you about 4 big pages of tests here. Now, can you see this? This is for each requirement here. This is requirement number, requirement name. Here is a total number of tests for that requirement. For this requirement, we have 14 tests. Guess what? All of them are ad hoc. None of them is systematic. It's just because the tester who joined this project later in the game. This is very typical of any project, by the way. The tester joined the project after everything has been implemented. So we did not want him to spend time to design tests and follow the methodology. We said, go ahead and test. But when he tested, he had in mind which requirements he's testing. So for each requirement, he created ad hoc tests. So for this requirement, he created 14. For this requirement, he created 18. As you can see, he's got total of 0 systematic tests, systematic or pre-designed. Total number of test cases for the whole release is 402. The total ad hoc 402. The total failed 51. Total passed is 340, not executed there is 11. These are all real data at some point of the time. This is not the current data as it is now, but at least this was the data at some point. This is a snapshot of the data. And now here is we calculate two numbers here: the percentage of completeness and the percentage of readiness. And those are simply, the percentage of completeness is about how much work have we done from the total work. And this is simply calculated by dividing the total number of tests executed, whether passed or failed, by the total number. So this is simply, for example, for this requirement here, because we had a total number of 14 tests, and they're all passed, and nothing has not been executed yet. So it's 100% completeness. So let's take this number here. This number is simply saying that I got 32 pass, I got 1 not executed yet, and I got 6 failed. So if I take all the executed ones, which is the 32 pass plus the 6 that failed, that's a total of 38. If I divide the 38 by the total, which is 39, that gives you 97.44%. Again, that is the percentage of completeness, i.e. how much work have we done out of the total work. Well, the readiness is a different criteria. The readiness dealing only with the pass, which means it takes the 32 divided by the 39, and this simply says that this requirement is only 82% ready to be released. Why? Because we have only 32 out of 39 test cases pass. There is 6 that are failing. There is 1 that has not been executed yet. So total 7 out of the 39. So what we calculate this number based on is 32, the number of passes, and so on. And at the bottom here, you can see the total number. So according to this whole project, or this whole release, at the time we took the snapshot, was 84.58% ready for release. Okay, we were 97.26 complete, which means there's only about a little bit over 2.5% work to do. But again, the readiness is an important factor. Now the chart here shows you, of course, the total number of passes, which is a green slice, which as you can see here, it says 340. And the total number of fails, which is the red slice, which is 51. And I know you cannot see this on the chart, but there is a very, very small section of the pie in orange color, which is squeezed between the red and the green. You cannot see it, but when I put the cursor close enough, no, it's on the green now. It's right here. It's 11%. You see that? Sorry, it's 11 tests. I can't get it right here. You see the 11. This is simply a very small slice, and that's the percentage, 2.74%, which is this one right here. The 11 test cases here that have not been executed yet. So the color for not executed yet is orange color. I think that covers everything I wanted to say about the ad hoc / exploratory testing in Rommana.